Literally.
So while we're waiting, we're going to poll, everybody's here, so we're going to poll availability tomorrow. And it'll be, today's our only availability until Friday in Albany. And I'll send that info out. But if we keep advancing, we go straight to Cleveland. So nothing back in Boulder. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll let Brian in when he gets here.
Okay.
We'll go. You just want to
Start with a statement.
start with what we got going this week and looking forward to Sweet 16 here?
Yeah, just as I always say, I'm really proud of our team for how we responded emotionally and physically going to Manhattan. What a cool environment for college basketball. Lots of very rabid fans. And as we've said many times, we thrive in those environments. And I thought our team's composure was excellent. And yeah, just really excited to be back in the Sweet 16. It's something that these guys grow up dreaming about doing and have worked really, really hard to put us in a position where we can do that back-to-back years. So excited, yeah, to head out. We'll leave Thursday and play Saturday, and can't wait.
Is this now the standard Sweet 16?
Or beyond. No. Yeah, I mean, we just want to win as many games as possible. You know, it's really cool that 3 years ago, our first time going to the tournament, we were so devastated to, lose in the first round, but team took a really smart approach to the offseason after that game. Like, we didn't live in our disappointment for very long. We used it to fuel our training and motivation and focus and all of that, and then used that loss to then fuel us the next year, which was last season, and went into the postseason tournament with just a tremendous amount of focus, and felt like that experience allowed us to keep winning. And I think we're just doing the same thing now, just trying to keep learning, keep growing, utilize past experience, be better the next time around.
You talk about past experiences from past tournaments. What can you and your team take from last year's matchup with Iowa moving forward into the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's really cool. They return almost everybody. We return almost everybody. So in a lot of ways, two very, very similar teams. And I think it was one of the best games of the tournament last year. And so I think everybody will go back and rewatch the film and figure out, what worked, what didn't work. And of course, there's been a lot of games, since that one. And so I think both teams are also different in some ways. And so just going to try to figure out and analyze how can we take advantage of any perceived weaknesses they have. And I'm sure they'll be doing the same for us.
Were you tuned in last night trying to see who you would play?
I'm sorry, say that
again.
Were
you tuned in last night to watching it pretty closely, whoever came out on top?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I had to do something in Denver during tip-off, so I wasn't able to watch it live. The first half, second half, I watched live, and, some of our players are texting me, this is what I'm seeing, this is, what we might be able to do, or, things like that, and so the engagement was pretty strong last night.
Speaking of last year's game, though, do you actually use that game in particular as your film study, or do you kind of look at more of like just their more recent games?
Yeah, probably a little bit. How did they guard this? How did they guard that? But I mean, they also lost a couple of really key pieces, Anano being one of them. And I think Stolke's fantastic, their post player that's kind of replaced Anano. But they're a little bit different, in what they bring to the table. So some things, you can study and learn from will probably show a little bit to our team. But like I said, there's been a lot of games since then. And so I think we have to pay more attention to what they've been doing recently.
What would you say is the message this week? Has it changed, or what's just like something that you continuously tell your players through this tournament run?
Yeah, I mean, we're just focused. Again, I say this a lot, and it's kind of boring for you guys to hear, but we're just trying to be great, every single day that we take the floor. And, and so that's the message. Just what do we need to do well today? What do we need to improve today? And, just try to focus on those things.
JR, what about your team, beating LSU, winning really tough games this weekend? What about your team allows you to reach such high heights this group?
Yeah, it's all about our veterans. I mean, we have so many veterans and so many that have played in big games in a Colorado jersey, and then you add in Sarah Rose Smith and Maddie Nolan, who have also played in big important games, that throughout their careers. And so I just think we have a really veteran group. Honestly, there's not a lot that I have to say. I think our veterans they're already communicating, we need to stay focused, we need to stay united and this or that. And, I think the basketball part kind of takes care of itself when you have such great leadership.
Is that the same thing with the elephant in the room and Caitlin Clark and having game plan started out pretty well apparently last year, and then it just kind of, she does what she does.
Yeah, so what's your question? Is the messaging the same regarding Caitlin? Yeah, I mean, she's a tremendous player. She's the leading scorer in the history of our game for a reason. There's nothing that anyone could do or say to take that away. We do feel like in the Pac-12 conference, we're very fortunate that we've played against a lot of really good teams. Collectively, great teams, individually, great talent, whether that's in the post or on the perimeter. And so, we said this going into the K-State game, we feel very prepared to play K-State because we are built for it. Like, we have seen great players and great teams all season long, and it kind of feels the same, going against Iowa. Just, we've played against great teams, we've played against great players. Game plan might look different, but we do feel prepared for sure.
Steph thing where if you stop everybody else, you're good, or how do you approach it? Like she'll get her 40 and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that our staff will have to analyze and talk about, and probably also something that we won't be sharing with everyone.
Maddie's been to an Elite Eight. The rest of you guys are trying to kind of break through that barrier. How much are you leaning on her experience in this round this week?
Yeah, and it's funny because I heard that as soon as the selection show was over, Maddie gathered everyone and said, everybody sit down, we're going to watch this Drake film, or at least those that live in her house, maybe. And so I think she's doing a great job of bringing energy, bringing a sense of calm. Like, Maddie's one that plays with tremendous amount of passion, but she also is very calm in the midst of the storm. And so I think that experience that she has going to the Elite Eight is something that we can all lean on, and she'll continue to give that to everybody.
She's obviously got more experience against Caitlin than anybody on the team, just having come from Michigan in the Big Ten, playing against her, I think, 5 or 6 times. Are you leaning on her a little bit more this week? Obviously, she's been a big leader since she got on campus, but maybe just a little bit more this week, just knowing she's got a little bit more experience than you guys do against
I mean,
Caitlin?
I think she'll definitely have an opinion, and some insight and some, some little nuggets that she can share with coaches as well as her teammates. And, I mean, we'll take any little bit of advice that we can get.
What do you feel like has been the secret to your staff's success in finding the right fits in the transfer portal? I mean, going back to Quay and Sadler this year with Maddie and Sarah Rose, it's not a lot of pieces every year, but when you identify a need, you haven't really swung and missed on anyone. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think thank you. That's a great point, and it's hard to do, with so much talent in the portal. I think just really being intentional about, one, making sure that people line up with the culture that we have. We want to recruit players that want to work hard, be a great teammate, be unselfish, and just compete, on the daily basis. And all of those players, Aaronette was a good one too, you forgot to mention. But all of those guys lined up with that mindset. Also, no real egos, in that group that you mentioned, people that just want to be a part of a great team, want to contribute to overall success. But then also niches, like when we signed Aaronette, we needed a 5, like we needed a true post player. With Maddie, we need a shooter, someone that can stretch the defense along with Frida. So I think being pretty smart about what do we have, what do we need, and then just trying to fill those needs.
Jalen said on Selection Sunday that she enjoys playing the villain role, obviously kind of referencing going into K-State and trying to win on a hostile environment. There's kind of no bigger villain role than ending Caitlin Clark's college career, it feels like, this week. I mean, how much do you guys look forward to playing that role and trying to do that?
Yeah, honestly, I think we're just really excited to play one of the best teams in the country. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. And I think a lot of people outside of our locker room will talk about Caitlin and what that would look like and what that would mean. We will not be talking about that. We will talk about coverages, game plan, scheme, discipline, execution. Like, for us, it's the same whether it's the first exhibition game of the season, or LSU on the opening night, or Stanford, or Iowa in the Sweet 16. The opponent doesn't really play a role as far as our verbiage and the things that we're focused on.
How much has this group grown since you guys played Iowa in the Sweet 16 last year?
Oh, I think leaps and bounds in a lot of ways. I think adding some of the new players that Pat's talking about, I think, allowed us to be better in some ways. I think just overall maturation. We have a lot of upperclassmen. We have a couple of fifth-year seniors, 3 of them, and just players that have been around a really long time. So I think that they've done a great job of leading and communicating, and certainly it was not all sunshine and roses all year, but allowed us to stay together and play together and keep our heads where they needed to be throughout the times that were more difficult. And I think that's why we're a better ball club. If we had just sailed through everybody, we'd be happy to win every game, of course, but I don't know that we'd be prepared for the adversity that we can face, even throughout a single game.
But you guys have played great teams. You've beaten great teams. And I wonder, at this stage last year, it may have still been a little of the unknown, but to have the confidence that you can play with anybody, what does that mean at this stage of the season?
Yeah, I think it means everything because every single team is so good, at this point, and so balanced and so tough and had so much success throughout the year. I think confidence in what you do, what you're capable of, and each other is the most important thing going into the NCAA tournament.
Defense certainly will be a key, having held Kansas State to just 15 points over the final 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This group has got to feel pretty good about where they stand defensively heading into.
Yeah, I think for a lot of years we've hung our hat on our defense. This year we're better than we've ever been offensively, and so maybe that's balanced out a little bit. But I think if you asked any of our real veterans that have been here a while, they would say we're built on defense, and I think we believe that we can get stops, or we believe that we can turn people over, when we need to.
Since you took this position, it's like, not even gradually, it just keeps moving forward. 41, and you talked about moving the bar, and even just in your other statement, like this or more, like this is not good enough, air quotes, you know what I mean? Like, where does that come from, and are you where you want to be, year whatever to this point in this evolution of this program?
Yeah, I think what we've established, again, it's not just the coaches or the staff, like I keep talking about our upperclassmen, but they came here when we were not good, and they knew we were not good, and we talked to them about the amount of work it would take, daily to get better and to achieve, what we wanted to achieve. And they signed up for that and wanted that. So I think the culture of our program is very, very strong in that, everyone's asking, I keep going back to, we're just going to try to be great today. Whatever we do on the court today, we're trying to be great. And I think that has allowed us to get to this place. I think if you can continue to recruit great players that want that and will buy into that and believe in a system, believe in unselfish play and things like that, then I think the sky is the limit. I think we can keep getting better every year.
Is it harder to maintain? I guess that's like a tad question. It's sort of like once you get it there, how hard is it to keep it?
I think if you have the right people in place, nothing can stop us.
Whenever I talk to Jalen, she'll always say, I talked to JR about this, I talked to JR about that. Can you just kind of walk me through the relationship that you have with Jalen Sherrod?
Yeah, Jay is honestly like one of my daughters. Every player on the team is. Jay and I have just been together a really long time. I said to someone the other day, she's been here almost a quarter of her life. And I think we've both grown a lot during that time. Me as a coach and, maybe a communicator, and she is someone that would open up and begin to trust. And that relationship that we have is very strong. We talk almost every single day. It's rare that we actually call on the phone. We usually FaceTime, even if it's just a random conversation about something. She was the first one texting me during the first half of the game last night. What do you see? What are you seeing? And I'm like, well, I'm actually doing an interview in Denver, so I'm not seeing anything right now. What are you seeing? And she lists off a bunch of things that, that she was noticing throughout the game. And so, yeah, it's awesome. Anytime you can work with someone that's as competitive and driven as you are, it's pretty great.
How much do you think you defer to her on the court?
Defer?
Yeah. How much do you allow her to kind of make some of the
Yeah, I think we have great dialogue. Kendall Wetta, too. There was a timeout in Kansas State where she was like, we really need to do this, and I said, okay, let's do it, and I think, having two great point guards in Kendall and Jalen that are comfortable and confident to be able to share what they're seeing, what they're feeling, is really, really important. One of the first things we usually say in the locker room is, what are you seeing, to the team? We want to know what they're seeing and what they're feeling, and, and it's usually pretty high IQ stuff. And so I love that we can do that. Point guards and head coaches need to be on the same page at all times, and definitely we are that.
Jerry, you mentioned how good the Pac-12 has been this season. Obviously, 5 teams are in the Sweet 16. A couple of them are going to be with you in Albany. How much pride do you take in that, and then being a part of it as well? Just kind of the conference, even though it's last season, just kind of how good it's been and being a part of that as well.
Yeah, I take a tremendous amount of pride in being in the Pac-12. We're still all sad that it's over. We'll be excited for the next move, when the season ends. But the Conference of Champions has been really special to all of us. I'm not surprised at all that there's 5 of us in the Sweet 16, and certainly hope that we'll continue to advance, and all of our other Pac-12 buddies will continue to advance as well. So the coaches, the camaraderie, the level of success and excellence in our league has been really, really special.
Coach, Erin Net has been so impressive this season. What are you expecting to see from her with the matchup this weekend?
Yeah, I keep seeing Erin get better and better. You know, she does something so special, and I think, man, how's she going to top that? And then the very next night, she goes out and tops it. I mean, I still just think as good as she is, she's still just barely scratching her potential. I think she could be one of the most dominant players in the country. You know, and she continues to work for that. She and Coach T are very close, you know, her post position coach, and they're constantly watching film, talking, connecting on things that they're seeing and wanting to grow. And I think that relationship is going to continue to allow her to, you know, keep watching and learning. And but I think she's incredible, and I think she's going to be tough for anybody, you know, whether it's this weekend or next year or when she starts her pro career. She's going to be a great player for a really long time.
Does this place have, and I know you and Rick George have a good relationship, but he's talked about retirement, there's going to be some change over here. Does this institution have the things that you want it to be successful, to keep pushing, and to be that elite down the stretch where you want this to go in, say, 2-3 years?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we love everything that we're doing here at the University of Colorado. I think you mentioned Rick George. I mean, he was just named the athletic director of, you know, the country. And I mean, it's no doubt that he is that guy, you know, to be able to do what we've been able to do here. You know, something that I said the other day about Colorado has been an amazing place. It has been. The great thing about Prime, besides all of the greatness that Prime brings with him, is that now the entire world is seeing what an incredible place the University of Colorado is. So yeah, we love what we have here. We love what you know, what we're going to continue to be able to build with our leadership, and we'll certainly miss Chancellor Phil, but love the support that we have from President Solomon, and yeah, I just think the sky's the limit.
You talked post game about, you know, not having McDonald's All-Americans or, you know, top 50 recruits. How much does, you know, ABC on Saturday being able to be in everybody's living room help recruiting wise and, you know, get eyes on the program?
Yeah, I think being on national television for this type of game with this type of magnitude is going to be incredible because, like I said, this place is awesome. Like anyone that's been to Boulder, anyone that's been, you know, throughout these facilities and spent time within our programs here knows that CU is a very special place. You know, our brand of style of play is fun, it's exciting, and so I'm very, very excited, you know, for the world and especially recruits, you know, future families that we want to recruit to be able to see what we have going here.
JR, you won two totally different styles of games last weekend. Drake scoring a ton of points in the first half, and then Kansas State, the second half was just a rock fight. How great was that for you to see kind of the adaptability of this group last weekend? Yeah, I think being adaptable at this time of the year is also one of the most important things. You know, whether that's style of play, whether that's location, whether that's officiating, no matter what it is, being able to say, okay, this is what's going on in the moment, this is what we need to do to make sure that we're taking advantage of whatever's happening is absolutely crucial. So having a really mature group, having a coachable group, having coaches that are kind of eyes open to those things are going to be important.
Anything else?
I'm just curious your thoughts on the men's run in the tournament. I know you guys were kind of playing on the same day, but
Yeah.
just what are your thoughts on the men's side of University of
Yeah,
Colorado?
just unbelievably proud of our men's program and for all that they accomplished. I saw something about the amount of injuries, and everybody that followed our men's team this year knows that there were some huge key injuries during pretty pivotal stretches of their season. You know, to be able to hold the group together and have the type of success that they have had throughout the end of Pac-12 play, through the Pac-12 tournament, into the NCAA tournament, with all of those injuries and things like that is just a true testament to their culture and tremendous leadership, obviously, in Tad and his coaches, but also in KJ as their point guard, and Tristan and Luke and all those guys, you know, that have been here a long time. And yeah, just really, really proud of them and excited for what they'll be able to do next year, too.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
interview from like October. Oh, I get it. And it's like, you can find it, you can get it. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah. So now I feel like I gotta get it. Yeah, it's just, I got the numbers with those 3 conversations left, so better reply.
So we'll do Quay for everybody, and then we'll break out.
You want me right here?
Yeah.
Thanks, I'm not trying to make it obvious.
Okay, so we'll have Quay here, and then I've got your list of requests, but if you need, I've got me, Colin, or Nathan that'll help. We'll move out after, so open it up to Quay.
Quay, just curious, starting off, I mean, what was the situation like watching the game last night? How many of you guys were together watching it? Were you kind of separate? What was the game plan for watching the game last night?
I think we all watched it. I'm sure we've all watched it. Tam and I watched it together last night. And, you know, nothing that we haven't seen all year. Obviously, Iowa has been making noise all year, not just because Caitlin, but other great players on their team. So just seeing all that and seeing where I'm going to be, because when we watch the game, T tells us to watch it from like who you'll be guarding. So just looking at it from a different perspective.
I know there's no extra motivation needed this time of year, but how much is last year's game kind of in the back of your minds? How excited are you guys to get a rematch?
Yeah, I think everybody was excited to see that we're getting a chance at them again. I'm definitely excited just because it's just 2 great teams. Our backs are not against the wall, but we're the underdog, obviously, and I think that we thrive in those positions. So I'm just really excited to play them again.
What are some of the things you see in them as you watched them last night that are different from what you guys saw last year?
I think that obviously last year was Caitlin and Cesano, and right now it's Soki, Kate Martin, Caitlin Clark. They have a couple people coming off the bench that are good for them, and I think now it's not only Caitlin, and I think that she's made that clear that her teammates also can score and get going. So I think that's definitely in the back of our minds, and not being so only dialed in on her, but other players on their team as well.
You talk about that underdog mentality, and we've referenced it a few times over the year. Why do you think the team buys into that mentality?
Honestly, I think because of how Jalen takes it on. Personally, until coming here, I've never thought about like what it meant to be the underdog. But seeing like Jalen adopt that mentality and turn it into something that's like adding fuel to the fire, I don't know. I guess it's just something that I've adopted being here, and it's just a role that we thrive in. I don't know why. I don't know how come this is the role that we like to adopt, but it's just something that we're proud to be, and we like to show out when we have that on our backs.
You talk about that matchup that could potentially be coming against Iowa. What can you do personally in those matchups to take advantage of what Iowa brings and helps you to win?
Yeah, keep doing what we've been doing, playing team defense, understanding that it's going to take the whole team offensively and defensively to win this game, and doing whatever my team and my coaches ask me to do.
What kind of Pac-12 comp does Stokey look like to you?
That's a good question. I'm going to say Kiki. I haven't seen Soki shoot a 3. I know Kiki is developing a little bit of an outside game, but definitely Kiki because of their athleticism and just their matchups. They're very athletic, and they're big, and they're physical, and I don't know. I just think that's a good comparison.
Tamia had a big second half against Kansas State. How awesome was that for you to see her kind of have her big moment?
Yeah, like I tell her every game, like I get annoyed with her because I'm like, bro, why do you wait? Like, why do you wait to be amazing? Like, I'm proud of you and I'm happy, but we need this, and like you can do it. So like, I don't know what it takes for you to get there, but I need you to get there, and I need that to be every night, Tam, not just Tam against Kansas.
Another thing that Jalen's talked about, aside from the underdog role, is kind of playing the villain role. Obviously, there's no bigger chance to be a villain than ending Caitlin Clark's career,
Yeah.
college career, basically. How much do you relish that opportunity as well this week?
Yeah, also like being the villain, being the underdogs, having our backs against the wall are all things that lead for success for the Buffaloes. And I think that just being able to have that type of experience and take advantage of the opportunity is just something that we're really going to be big about, and staying connected, because we know that they're going to have runs and we're going to have our runs. It's going to be a very emotional game, and just being able to stick together and come out on top is our main focus and priority.
Boy, a big thing that happened in the game last year was that three of your starters fouled out. How do you guys kind of contain, just be more disciplined
Yeah.
in a game like this, especially with a player like Caitlin, who is famous for drawing fouls?
Yeah, like you said, just being disciplined, understanding that her style of game, like I said, we've been seeing her play all year. We got a chance to play against her last year, so having that experience under our belt, being able to play against her, knowing how she draws her fouls, when she likes to draw them, and who she draws them on, just having focus and being disciplined, like you said. And I think just that within itself will be fine.
We talked to Coach about kind of deferring to you guys, talking to you guys, what are you seeing on the court and what you want to do. What does that collaboration look like throughout this tournament in terms of talking to Coach and what you're seeing and what she wants to do?
Yeah, so that's been good for us because it's different from watching it compared to actually being out there playing. And I think that being able to have that type of communication with her where she's asking us and we're telling her what the feel is and what we need, and her being able to use her, obviously she's the coach for the reason, so being able to give her our insight and use it to what she's already wanted for us is really good, because we're able to it just helps us in the flow of the game. It helps us to be able to just talk to JR about how things are going so that she can have a better feel for it too.
You play a lot of two big teams in the Pac-12, but last weekend you had to guard a lot of guards with the 4-out teams. I was kind of the same way. How much does that make it easier for you going into this week that you kind of had a similar matchup defensively last week?
Yeah, definitely. I think that me being able to guard on the perimeter has been something that T has wanted to see me do all season. Before we played Kansas, he told me, you can defend on the perimeter when you want to. And I don't know. For me, I feel like I defend on the perimeter every time. I defend hard. So I'm like, what are you talking about? But just knowing that, having that confidence behind me and having my teammates be like, Quay, get up there, defend. And for me, personally, it makes me feel good because, I'm a post player, guarding guard. So when I'm able to defend and contain, it makes me want to, be even more I feel like I look like Jalen and Kendall up there when I'm up there. So it just makes me feel good, and then to get their support and things. Yeah.
Jalen and Kendall think like you look like them up there?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Speaking of Kendall, how far has she come since this time last year? Obviously, she was key in defending Caitlin. Last year, she's going to be key again this week. I mean, how much have you seen her grow as a defender over the last year?
Yeah, not just as a defender, but just as a person. Kendall talks a lot more. She's really grown into filling the shoes of the leadership and the leader that we need her to be for the team. With that, it shows on the court, and I think that Kendall is not only excited but ready for the matchup, ready to defend, because she knows that she's a good defender, and she knows that we're confident in her defending whoever we put in front of her. So, yeah, Kendall. I love Kendall, so I'm gonna miss her.
This team played well on the big stage earlier this season in the season opener against LSU. This is going to be a nationally televised game. We know how big a brand Iowa and Caitlin Clark is. How excited is this group to have a chance to show what Colorado basketball is all about?
Yeah, we love this opportunity. We love the opportunity against LSU, and we're just happy we're playing in the postseason, regardless if it was Iowa or Kansas, whoever. We're just happy to be playing and happy to have our backs, or not have our backs against the wall, but happy to be the underdogs in these types of matchups, because we want to upset people. We want to be the team that people count out. So I think just having that opportunity in the position that we're in is exciting for everybody.
How about the idea that you all have been able to beat teams who play vastly different styles of basketball? And last week, obviously, you beat K-State as a team that beat Iowa. Does that give you confidence that, hey, we can play with anybody?
I mean, I feel like we already felt that way. Also, every team is good, so it's not like, okay, we beat Kansas and they beat Iowa, so that means we can beat Iowa. It's just like everybody is good. You have to show up on every night, or else the other team is going to come out with the win. So I think that we're just excited for another opportunity to play. It doesn't matter who's getting put in front of us. We're just happy to keep playing basketball.
A lot was made of the strength of the Pac-12 this year. Now they've got 5 teams in the Sweet 16. I think they're 12-2 in this tournament. How exciting was that for you to see the conference as a whole kind of back that up against the rest of the country?
Yeah, I definitely was looking at that last night. Like, we got a lot of Pac-12 teams in the conference. Like, it's about to be the Pac-12 tournament. But, I mean, I think it just says a lot about our conference and how tough we are and how hard it is really competing in the Pac-12. I think that most people really believe, like, our conference is hard. Like, the SEC players are probably like, our conference is hard, but I don't know. I think that playing in the Pac-12 is just like you see different types of matchups. Like you see athletic teams, you see teams that can shoot, you see teams with big bigs, you see teams with bigs that can shoot threes, and it's just a lot of different matchups. And I think that is to our advantage, especially in times like this where we're throwing with teams that we've never seen, but we've seen teams like that within the Pac-12 sometime during our season. So I think it's to our advantage, and I'm just excited that a lot of Pac-12 teams are showing that the Pac is like that.
How much do you think you've grown as a player throughout this last year, since the last time you played Iowa?
I think that I've grown maturely. I'm more mature in the sense of like it doesn't need to be me, and I'm okay with that, and my team's okay with that. And I think that my team and I have recognized that whoever night it is, we just need to play within ourselves, and that will be the best outcome for us. I think that last year, for me personally, I was a lot caught up in like, if I don't play good, then I'm letting the team down and this and that. But I think that now I'm just confident in the pieces that we have and it all working together. Thank you.